Have you ever thought if in your company you have a clear distinction between work that women do and work that men do? In the last two videos, I've been talking about the cultural dimensions of Geert Hofstede. And we've already been talking about individualism versus collectivism and power distance, low versus high. Today, I would like to have a closer look at a third dimension. This one is called masculinity versus femininity. And one of the things that the difference is that in an environment, in a company, in a culture where you have high masculinity, then it is clear what a man does. So, for example, the man is working and he's earning the money, and the woman, she's staying at home. In a society with femininity, it's not that the women are the bosses, it's that also that men and women have the same rights. So people aren't astonished if the CEO is a woman, or if the first person in the state, the prime minister, chancellor, is a woman. So this is one of the differences. And maybe it might sound a little bit, maybe even strange talking about masculinity and femininity. So Geert Hofstede has already changed this term. I also hear sometimes, the data from Hofstede, he already collected them some time ago. Isn't there anything happening with them? Yes, it is. One example was individualism versus collectivism, where there are new data that were collected throughout a very big research worldwide. And one reason why this isn't done so on a regular basis, so first of all, it's really a huge work that has to be done. And at the same time, the data has to be considered and really to put into a new context. And so now, not only Geert Hofstede, because he doesn't live any longer, but his son, who is continuing his work, he has changed the name of this dimension into motivation towards achievement and success. If this is low, then success and achievement is not that important. If it's high, then it's really very, very important to be successful. And that's another thing, if you call it motivation towards achievement and success, or if you call it masculinity versus femininity, what it is about, that's really the same. So and I'll be talking about masculinity and femininity because so far they started to change it, but they have not yet changed it everywhere. So I'll stick to the old wording. And the abbreviation is MAS for masculinity. And if you look up the data, and I'll post the link under the video, then it will be easier for you to know which dimension I mean. So in a society with a high masculinity, it's really very important to be the best person, to win, to be successful, to have a big car in front of your house, to have a great house, and maybe to wear an expensive watch whatsoever is important in a society where success is important. In a society or culture with high femininity, it's much more important that people are taken care of. So examples can be that you have a welfare state, or that people receive some money when they are unemployed. Those are typical signs of a welfare society. In a society with high masculinity, it's really important to also what we call in Germany to climb the ladder of success, to be promoted and to get promotions and higher salaries and achieve a higher income kind of every time to really be regarded as a successful person. In those cultures where femininity has a high value, then it's much more important to take care of other people, to look after them, and not to be involved into questions of success and climbing the ladder. It's much more important to have a look on the other people. So how are they doing? Is there anything I can do for them? Is there anything I can support them with? In a society with high masculinity, money and things are important. Whereas in a society with a high femininity, it's really very important to have good relationships with family, with friends, and also maybe with neighbors and other people. And then the next distinction, that was something that I've learned during my time in Italy, even though at this time I hadn't heard anything of Hofstede's cultural dimensions. When I've been talking to Italian people, sometimes they looked at me and said, "Oh, you're from Germany. So in Germany, the people live to work, don't they?" And I was astonished and I thought, oh, yes, of course. Why else are we living? I'm exaggerating just a little bit. And the Italians said, oh, but we work to live. And I needed some time to really get what they said, because I was raised in really this mindset that is so important to have success, to always work, to have achievements and all these things. One of the very interesting things for me was that, for example, when we met in the evening, and they said, "Oh, let's go someplace to get something," and I was asking, "Okay, where are we going? What are we going to do? Would you like to take a drink? Would you like to get something to eat?" And they said, "Oh, we do not know yet. We are just going off, and then let's wait and see what's going to happen." And so they said, "Facciamo un giro." And I thought, okay, but for me, it was so unusual to just get on the Vespa and just drive around the center of Rome and just stop wherever they wanted. And when they started, they didn't know whether they wanted to have an ice cream or a Coke or a pizza or whatever. And so I really couldn't understand this, and they couldn't understand why I was asking, oh, where are we going? What are we taking? How long are we going to stay? Which route are we going to take? And so on. It was always a very, very funny thing, because I really learned that there are different mentalities. And I have to admit that I really loved it, because sometimes for me, the quality of life is less if everything really only follows a plan without room for spontaneity. Yeah, and one other typical thing for high masculinity is that those are societies for which economic growth is really crucial, not only for the country, but also for companies. And that everything that counts is really that there is a growth every year. Whereas in a society with high femininity, the environment is much more important. So what about your country? Do you think you're living in a country with high masculinity or with high femininity? Or is it a mixture between them? You can find this out when you go to the website from Hofstede to look up the data. And as always, I'm really very interested in learning or hearing what is your attitude and what do you think is your culture, to which kind of does your culture belong to femininity or to masculinity? Why is it so important to know this for your work with international teams? As you can imagine with the example, what I experienced in Italy, it really makes a difference. If people are more interested in the people they are working with, or if they are more interested in growth and in signs of success like cars and so on. And this really helps to maybe understand each other better. And in case that you have the impression that, yeah, it's good to know all these dimensions, but there are also other things that sometimes make it complicated in our team, then please just reach out to me. You can always reach me and book a free call with me, and then we can talk about the challenges that you might experience in your team and what you can do to really make your team a team with appreciation and a peaceful attitude. Because that's what's really important. That you and your team, that you are, yes, okay, successful. And at the same time, in my opinion, there are different, let's say, definitions of success. One success can be to be successful in the aspect of growth, and the other one can be to be successful in the aspect of harmony. Even though you realize that harmony, sometimes it's a difficult word. Harmony doesn't mean that, oh yes, we are so harmonic and we don't have any conflicts. That's not what I mean. Successful can also mean that you resolve conflicts successfully. This is also a question of success. And that you can really deliver a good product and service to your customer so that they'll be happy. For me, happiness can also be something that is, yeah, maybe the word success isn't the right one, but is something that is really worth going for. And I will really be happy to get some feedback from you. And please also let me know what else you would like to hear from me. There is a fourth dimension of Geert Hofstede that I'm going to present in the next video next week. And if there are more things that you would like to know, please let me know, and then I'll prepare it for you. So have a great day wherever we are. I'm already very much looking forward to seeing you next week, and have a great